Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruh. Wa na'udzu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. Man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlilhu fala hadiya lahu. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wa asyhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim wa barik ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim fil alamin innaka Hamidum Majid. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli, amma ba'. All praise be to Allah. We praise him. We ask for his help. We ask for his forgiveness. We seek refuge with Allah from the wickedness of ourselves and from the badness of our deeds. Whoever been given by Allah guidance, then nobody can be misguided for him. And whoever being made misguided by Allah, then nobody can be a guide for him. I bear witness there's no God worthy to worship except Allah, only him, no associate for him. And I bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger and his servant. O Allah, give good prayers upon Muhammad and the family of Muhammad. They have give good prayers upon Abraham and the family of Abraham. O Allah, bless upon Muhammad and the family of Muhammad. They so bless upon Abraham and the family of Abraham. Really, you are most worthy of praises and most noble. Today, inshallah, we go into our first topic or our first title from our book that we have already started our discussion about it. It is 50 rules of 50 Quranic rules about life, soul and life. Because the two topic before that we took is actually about the introduction by the author on what is actually he will be talking about in his book, because we always try to understand any writings or any material being given or being written by any authors. We have to look into the introduction, because from there we would know what the author want us to understand, or what he actually want us to know. So today, inshallah, we go into the first rule, rules, Quranic rules. The first one, inshallah, today is actually Al-Qa'idatul Ula, the first Qā'idah, the first rules. Wa qulu lin-nasi husna, and say to human being, to people, goodness. Say to people goodness. We say goodness to people. It is actually from the verse of Al-Quran, verse number 83 from Surah Al-Baqarah. The verse actually the complete verse stating from the وَإِذْ أَخَذْنَا مِيثَاقَ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيل, and when we took the oath from the children of Israel. That is actually the beginning of that ayat, and inside it one of the command by Allah to them, and actually for us, after we will explain that it's actually for us also. It's about saying goodness to people. He said here, al-insanu madadin bit-tab'i kama yuqal. It's a human being, humankind is actually civilized, want to stay with each other by its nature, by his nature, as being said by many. This is really one of the saying being narrated from Ibn Khaldun in his book Al-Muqaddimah. He said about this, that human is actually a creature that like to be mingle around with each other. That is the word of madani. Wa kasatu ta'amulatihi al-yawmiyah tahtamu alaihi tikaku bi tawaifin minan nasi. مختلف الأفهام والأخلاق. And his connections or relations, daily relations, or many of his daily relations with one with each other, tahtamu alaihi tikak, will make him to actually has friction with many of the people that's actually different in their understanding and also their manners. Yasma'u al-hasana wa ghayrahu. He will hear or listen from others, good and also other than that. Wa yara ma yastathiruhu, and we will see from other things that will actually provoke him. Fata'ti hadhihi al-qa'idatu litadbita alaqatuhu al-lafziyah. So this rule that Allah Ta'ala said, wa qulu lin-nasi husna, is actually this rule come to secure or to preserve or to guard his relation, verbal relation with others. Innaha qa'idatun takarrara dhikruha fil Qur'ani fi akthara min mawdi'in. It is a rule that being repeated is mentioning in the Quran in more than one place. Imma sarahatan aw dimniyan. Either it's actually clearly being stated, or it's actually inside or in the meaning of the in the meaning or the understanding of the saying. فمن المواضع التي توافق هذا اللفظ تقريبا, from among the places in the Quran that actually really connect or actually agree with this saying, قولوا للناس حسنا, nearly قوله تعالى في سورة الإسراء, the saying of Allah Ta'ala Al-Hayy in Surah Al-Isra, verse number 53. Allah Ta'ala said in that ayah, وَقُلْ لِعِبَادِي يَقُولُ الَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ, and say O Muhammad to my servants, that they should say that is the best. Ahsan, the best among saying, they should say the best among the saying. Want to say something, say the best, the good. It's actually really agreeable with the rules that we are taking today. وَقَرِيبٌ مِنْ ذَلِكَ, and quite near with that, أَمْرُهُ سُبْحَانَهُ بِمُجَالَةِ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ, the command of his the glory to be to him, Allah, that he command to have a discussion or to debate the people of the book, the Jew and the Christians, billati ahsan, with what is actually the best. To say something, choose the best words, the good and the best. Faqala subhanahu, so he, glory be to him, in Surah Al-Ankabut, verse number 46, he said, وَلَا تُجَادِلُ أَهْلَ الْكِتَابِ إِلَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ, and don't you debate the people of the book except with what is actually the best. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا مِنْهُمْ, except those people who are actually oppressor among them. They actually cannot be talked to them with good words. Then you can use a clear or firm word with them. That is actually the two places as example that's actually related to our rule today. Amma lati tuwafiquha min jihatil ma'na, but actually while what in the Quran is actually agreeable to with this rule from this the meaning side, from the side of meaning, fakathiratan is actually abundant. Kama sanushiru ila ba'daha ba'da qalil, as we will point it out to some of it after this. Then, if that's so, then ta'ammal fi qawlihi ta'ala wa qulu linnasi husna. Look into the saying of Allah, the saying of His Almighty, All High, and say to human being, to people, goodness. Ja'at fi siyaqi amrin fi amri bani Israila bi jumlatin min al-awamiri. Actually this command came in verse, in few lines of command, commanding the children of Israel bi jumlatin min al-awamir, with few of command. It's actually, if we want to recite it, Allah Ta'ala said in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse number 83, وَإِذْ أَخَذْنَا مِيثَاقَ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيل, and when we took the oath of Bani Israel, of the children of Israel, لَا تَعْبُدُونَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ, don't you worship except Allah, وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا, and with the two parent, you have to do good, you have to be merciful. Wadhil qurba, and also with whoever have your relationship with you from my relative. And after that, waqulu linnasi husna, and say to human being what is actually good. So it's actually a few commands from Allah Ta'ala to them, and among the command is actually qulu linnasi husna. Wahiya fi suratin madaniyatin, wahiya suratul Baqarah, and this rule that we took from the Quran is actually in Surah Al-Madani, Medina Surah. I mean, that's any surah of the Quran that revealed to the Prophet ﷺ after his migration from Mecca to Medina. It's called as Medina Surah. Means surah after he migrated from Mecca to Medina. And the first surah is Surah Al-Baqarah, and this is the surah. The verse is from this surah. وَقَالَ قَبْلَ ذَلِكَ فِي سُورَةٍ مَكِّيَّةٍ, and Allah Ta'ala said before this rule in Surah Al-Makkiyah, in surah that revealed to the Prophet ﷺ during his stay in Mecca. وَهِيَ Surah Al-Isra, verse number 53 that we recite before. Amran Aman is actually a general command. That one is actually being told about the children of Israel, the Jews. But this one is actually so general. Allah Ta'ala said, وَقُلْ لِعِبَادِي, and say, O Muhammad, to my servants, يَقُولْ لَتِهِ أَحْسَنْ, they have to say that is the best. So we see that the command came in the Medina Surah and also the Makkah Surah. So إِذَنْ فَنَحْنُ أَمَامَ أَوَامِرٍ مُحْكَمَةٍ. So we actually in front of firm command, is that the meaning and the rulings is actually the same, doesn't ever change, not changeable. وَلَا يُسْتَثْنَى مِنْهَا شَيْءٍ, and never ever being excluded from it, إِلَّا فِي حَالِ مُجَادَلَةِ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ, except in the circumstances in that we actually debating the people of the book, like being said before, is that what we said in Surah Al-Ankabut, verse 46. This is the only circumstances or condition that you can say a firm and harsh word to those who are from among the oppressor from the people of the book. Okay. So it said here, وَمِنْ وَلَطَائِفِهَا مَعَ هَذِهِ الْآيَةِ, and from among the fine meaning with this ayat, with this verse or these rules, وَقُولُ لِلنَّاسِ حُسْنًا, and say to human or to the people goodness. أَنَّ هُنَاكَ قِرَاءَةً أُخْرَى, there is actually there another way of recitation, because the vowel sign in the original text of the Quran is not there. So the word husna being also being recited by some of the recite of the Quran. And when we say recite of the Quran, it's actually the way recitation being narrated from the Prophet ﷺ. Means that the Prophet ﷺ being given by Allah easiness to recite the Quran, because the Prophet himself from the Quraysh tribes. But there are few tribes in the Arab world at that time, in the Arabian Peninsula, they actually cannot speak like the Quraysh. Some of them, maybe like we did here before, like the Surah Wad-Duha, they don't recite it Wad-Duha, Wad-Duha, because the R for them is hard to be uttered. So the Prophet asked Allah the easiness to recite the Quran. So when some of the tribes came to the Prophet ﷺ, so the way to recite the Quran, or the some of the words of the ayah can be recited with another way. So it's called in the knowledge as qira'ah. So like in the Surah Al-Fatihah, when you say ghairil maghdubi alaihim waladdallin, this is what the way we recite is considered the way of the Quraysh. But some of the reciter being recited to them by the Prophet SAW, to say ghairil maghdubi alaihimu waladdallin, ghairil maghdubi alaihimu, they don't say alaihimu, alaihimu, because they cannot talk like alaihim. They just like stop there. And some of them will recite ghairil maghdubi alaihum, not alaihim. So the way of recitation of the Quran is, it came to the Prophet ﷺ. There are 7 ways that is actually considered as being narrated abundantly or mutawatir from the companion to the follower companion, and after that. So one of the recitation of what our ruling today, the ayah, is actually being recited waqulu linnasi hasana, and say to human being, not husna, the best, but hasana, goodness, good, because husna will mean ahsan, is actually feminine for ahsan, the best. But here when the recitation being said hasana is actually good, even if not the best, the good one. You must say good, not only the best, but even the lowest level for good. Bi fathil ha was sin. It means that waqulna si hasana, say to human being, to people. So say to people bi fathil ha, hasan, not husna, but hasana, ha with upper vowel sign for ha and the sin, hasan, not husna, because hasan will generalize the meaning. Qala ahli al-ilm, the people of knowledge, the scholars, they said wal qawlul hasan, because we don't say husna, but we say hasan. Wa qawlul hasan, and good saying, yashmulu al-hasanu fi hayatihi wa fi ma'nahu, essentially it comprehend or actually included into it al-hasan, that is good in the form and good in the meaning. So you say good saying, you must look into the form of the word, the form, the form, the way being taught, being uttered, or secondly the meaning of the words, the saying. Hafi hayatihi, in the form, or in the form of the word is actually an yakuna bil lutfi. It must be with softness and in gentleness, wa adami ghilzati wa shiddati, and not harsh, with harsh or hard, not with harsh or hard. Is that the way you utter the word? Wa fi ma'nahu, in its meaning, bi an yakuna khaira, it must be good. Means that the meaning must be good, because the meaning, sometimes people can say words that is actually with softness, but the meaning is actually harsh. The meaning is not good. So we have to do two things: the way you pronounce it, the way you talk it, and the meaning of the words. لأن كل قول حسن فهو خير, because every good word is actually good hasan, qaulin hasan, every every qaul hasan, every good words is actually fahuwa khairun, is actually preferable, and every preferable word is actually good. So anything that is meaning good in meaning, not only good in the way of saying. He said here, innana nahtaju ila hadhihi al-qa'idati bi kathratin. We actually in needs to this rule abundantly more. Khasatan wa annana fi hayatina nata'amalu ma'asnafin mukhtalifatin min al-bashar. Because we especially we in this life, we actually connecting or mingling with many type of people. Fihimul muslimu wa fihimul kafiru. Among them they are Muslim, among them they are non-Muslim or kafir. Wa fihimul salihu wa talihu. Among them they are virtuous people, good people. Wa talihu, and among them are vicious or bad people, wicked people. Wa fihimus saghir wal kabir, and among them they are young person, and they are old person. Bal wa nahtajuha lit-ta'amul ma'a khassin nas bina. Even so, even actually more than that, we need this rule for us to connect or to have in our relation with the most special or the most exclusive people with us, who is actually al-walidan, to our parent, wa zawjah, husband and wife, wal awlad, children. Wa nahtajuha lit-ta'amuli ma'a man huwa man tahta aydina. And even so, even though more than that, we need this rule for our communication or our relationship with whoever under our power, our administration, such as the helpers and whoever in their rulings, like the workers and our employee. We need this rule to do our relationship with them, because those people actually being considered as the exclusive people for us, like our parent and our family. Min suwari tatbiqati hadhihi al-qa'idati, from among the implementation of these rules. Wa anta ayyuhal mu'minu, and you, O believers, or the one who believes, idha qallabta al-Qur'an, if you turn over the Quran, you look into the Quran, wajadta ahwalan nassa 'alayha al-Quran ka tatbiqin amaliyin li hadhihi al-qa'idati, you will surely find circumstances or conditions that the Quran is actually stating by words as the implementation, practical implementation of these rules. Such as example, first, ta'ammal qaulullahi anil walidain, look into the saying of Allah about the two parents. This is from the Surah Al-Isra. This verse is from Surah Al-Isra, verse number 23. Verse number 23. Ya, Allah said in this ayah about the two parents, wala tanharhuma, and don't you speak angrily to them, shout to them. Wa qul lahuma qawlan karima, and say to them noble or respectable words. Don't ever you shout to them. Don't ever you speak angrily to them. And even in another ayah, Allah said, "Wala taqul lahuma uff." Don't say to them ah. Even the word ah is actually that will hurt their feeling. It's not actually being condoned by the religion. It cannot be said. Innahu amrun bi adamin nahri. It is a command to not speak angrily. Wa huwa mutadammin lil amrin bidaddihi, and also the verse of the Surah Al-Isra is actually containing whatever is opposite of the command to not speak angrily. Wa huwa al-amru bil qawlil karim, it is actually the command to say, to speak respectfully. Alladhi la ta'nifa fihi. There is actually no harshness or no angriness in it. Not to be harsh to them. Secondly, some of the example of this practical of this implementation practical of this rule. وَكَذَلِكَ أَيْضًا فِيمَا يَخُصُّ مُخَاطَبَةَ السَّائِلِ الْمُحْتَاجِ. And same as that also, what related to speaking to people who's actually called as needing inquirer. When a person inquire to you something, then you should not speak to them harshly or angrily. Because normally when people in needs asking you, some people feel annoyed by the person, and they start to speak angrily or harshly. Bal ba'dul ulama, even some of the scholars, yara umumaha, they see it's actually the general is generalness in all inquirer, because originally this ayah, this verse is about people who inquire from you properties or belonging or wealth, asking for you money, asking from you money or food. So the verse said, wa amma sa'ila fala tanhar. And for those who inquire, don't you ever speak to them angrily. And so they say here, some scholars understand the generalness of this ayah by saying that sawa'un kana sa'ilan lil mali aw lil ilmi. It's the same or similar whether the inquirer is actually inquiring wealth or things or from you, or inquiring knowledge. Sometimes we can see that some of our scholar or our teacher is not really being patient with the student. They start to speak harshly to the student if the student like to ask question. Qala ba'dul ulama, so some of the scholars said, if you have to say, you cannot speak harshly to them, then what you have to do? He said, ay fala tuzjiruhu. So that tuzjiruhu. So you don't speak angrily to them. Walakin tafaddal alayhi bi shay'. But see here, tafaddal alayhi bi shay'. Be respectable and give something to them. Instead, rather you let him with something, give something to him, or raddahu bi qawlin jamil, or turn him over with lovely words. Don't use harsh word. Sometimes we can see this type of thing happening in some of the restaurants. Surely we want to eat, and somebody came and asked for money, or asked for help, or some of them is actually selling tissues inside a restaurant. It is bad for you to have to front your face in front of them. You don't want to give. You can speak with good words, and turn them away with good words by smile and everything. Don't ever use harshness to them, because they actually, when they came to you to ask, half of their pride or most of their self pride already been put away. So you don't have to insult them more. Give them, or you just smile and turn them away softly. Don't ever use harshness. This is one of the implementation of this our rules today. Thirdly, ومن التطبيقات العملية لهذه القاعدة القرآنية, and from among the practical implementation of this Quranic rule, qulu linnasi husna, say to people goodness, what is the best. Ma asna Allahu bihi ala ibadir rahman, what is Allah Ta'ala what is that Allah Ta'ala has praised upon the people that being called as the Ibadur Rahman, the servant of the most loving, the most loving God. He has servants that been called Ibadur Rahman. It is said in the Surah Al-Furqan about them. It's actually an implementation of this rule. وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ قَالُوا سَلَامًا. He said when the ignorant, and when the ignorant speak to them, they would say, peace be upon you. It's okay. They don't argue or quarrel with them. Yaqul Ibn Jarir rahimahullah fi bayani ma'na hadhihi al-ayati. Ibn Jarir At-Tabari, one of the first scholar who write the explanation of the Quran or tafsir of the Quran completely from the Surah Al-Fatiha and the Surah An-Nas. The first one who completely wrote about tafsir, and whoever come after him is actually will always have to look into whatever he wrote. He is actually one of the first one, the first who write completely. Yes, he is the first one, because before his time, before his compilation, tafsir is actually a part of the knowledge of hadith, explanatory of the hadith about a few ayah. That is actually considered as tafsir. But he, Ibn Jarir At-Tabari, that died in 310 of Hijrah, he wrote, or he compiled from among what he learned from the hadith about the ayah of the Quran. He compiled it into a book, a book of explanatory of the Quran, explanation of the Quran. So he said in explaining the meaning of this ayah, means that if the Ibadur Rahman, the servants of the most loving God, وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُ الْجَاهِلُونَ, and when the ignorant speak to them, qalu, they will say salama, salam, peace. They don't want to argue. He said here, وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ بِاللَّهِ بِمَا يَكْرَهُونَهُ مِنَ الْقَوْلِ, and when the ignorant about Allah, those who doesn't know about Allah, ignorant about Allah, speak to them, to these people, with what they doesn't like from among the words, ajabuhum bil ma'ruf min al-qawli, they answered to those ignorant with what is actually good or respectable from saying, was-sadadi bil khitab, and also what is actually firm in speech, right in speech, grace words and right in speech. They will not condone or agree with the wrongness, but they don't use harshness with them. Wahum yaquluna dhalika, and they, the Ibadur Rahman, the servants of the most loving God, Allah, when they say like that, they don't argue with them, with those ignorance. La an da'fin walakin an tarafu'in. They don't talk to them like that with goodness, not to be harsh, to get back to the ignorant with harshness. They don't say that, they are not saying that from frailness, but from dignity. Not from frailness, but from dignity. Wala an ajzin, and also not from wickedness. Weakness, not from weakness, but from they are saying that from highness, means to be a better person, not to mingle around things that is actually not supposed to be quarrel about. And also they say something like they don't say harshness or return the badness with badness, and also because of ansiyanatin lil waqti wal juhdi, is actually to preserve time and effort, and yunfaqa fi ma la yaliqu bir rajulil karimi, from being the time and effort from being used into something that's actually not suitable with a noble person. al-mashghul an muhatarati. That is actually, he is actually busy from quarreling or arguing with what huwa ahammu wa akramu wa arfa'u. He is actually busy with what is actually more important, more respectable, and more upright, and more upright. Essentially, that's because that is why he doesn't use the harshness, talk lightly, goodly, because of that. Inna mimma yu'safu alayhi, and it's actually among things that we can say that regretful for us. An yara al-insanu kathrat al-kharqi li hadhihi al-qa'idati, the tarnishing to a human to see the many of tarnishing of these rules, turning and tarnishing this rule in fi waqi ummatil Qur'an, in the reality of the nation of Al-Quran, because we actually being called as a nation of Al-Quran. We are the people who are being sent down to them the Quran, but we can see that some of many of us is actually not really going into this rule, not following this rule. Wadhalika fi ahwalin kathiratin, and that is actually in many circumstances. Minha, among it, first, annaka tara man yubashshiruna bin nasraniyati yahrusuna ala tatbiqi hadhihi al-qa'idati. That you, first thing, you see that those who actually preaching Christianity, they are eager to implement this rule. So hard, they try so hard to implement this rule. Min ajli kasbin nasi ila dinihim mansukhi bil Islam. Then they are doing that to get people into their annulled religion by Islam. Meaning their religion is being annulled or being revoked by Islam, but they are actually calling people to that. Afalaysa ahlul Islami ahaqu bi tatbiqi hadhihi al-qa'idati? Don't the people of Islam is more rightful to implement this rule min ajli kasbil khalqi ila hadha ad-din al-azim, to get people, to get all creatures, all human beings, to this great religion alladhi tadahu li ibadihi, that Allah please and prefer it for his servants. Allah says in the Quran, inna deen and Allah Islam, the only religion in the sight of Allah is Islam. But poorly we actually not using this even right now we can see that some people who actually considered as deviant or actually not being misguided from Islam, they are using this type of approach, talk softly and using the good words to talk to people. And so the crowd is actually coming to him not because of the truth, or not because of the rightness, or the what he said is actually really from Islam, but just because the way he talked about it is actually so soft. That is the religion, not anything else other than that. So don't we actually the one who want people to be in the right guide of Allah? Don't we actually more rightful to use this rule? Say to people goodness or the best, not just say anything to people. Secondly, we can see that fi ta'amuli ma'al walidain, the turning of this rule happening in our time right now, in the nation of Quran, in their relation with their parents. People not talking respectfully to their parent. In the Quran, we can see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah, the Almighty, He told us the story about the few dialogues between parent and children, like the dialogue between Yusuf and his father Jacob, the dialogue between Abraham and his father Azar, the dialogue between Ishmael and his father Abraham. All of that, we can see that they actually talking to their father, talking to their parent, actually very softly, and gently. Things that actually in our time right now start to be taught, especially when we follow the morals of the common way of talking by the Westerners. So the things actually being exposed to us from childhood. Maybe they say that like the cartoon Simpson is actually for adult, but children will look into it, and from that story, that Simpson cartoon series, you can see that the usage of not respecting elders, like Bart Simpson calling Homer to his father, oh Homer, you, everything, to his father by name, calling their parent by name. It's actually not respectable. Same as one of the cartoon in Malay, Sophia and what. So the boy is actually a younger brother. He doesn't call his sister kakak, because if they actually talking in non-Arabic or non-Malay words, I can see that the usage is actually quite difficult, because the word you will be used between you and anybody else. You say to your father, father, do you want you? But in our language or in the Arabic language, actually you cannot say something like that. Engkau, or in Malay, they have a few tribes, like the Javanese, they can say something like that, but it's still harsh. The usage is not really right. It's actually that it's common talking, and in certain condition, when the children actually doesn't agree with their parent, the usage of more loud voice and everything else is actually happening. It does happen. 3, في التعامل مع أحد الطرفي حياة الزوجية, in relation with one side of two side of the marriage life. There is husband to wife, wife to husband. Actually, both of them have to talk nicely to the other, to his partner or her partner, not to use harsh word or angrily, because that person is part of your life, is your partner. But the usage of harsh word, or like today also, some of us is using the by name. Sometimes the wife is talking to her husband. I don't think something in Islam not really good, because one, the word is being used without respect to the other partner. Then the other thing will come after that. More than the just word will come after that. So that from the husband side also have to call his wife with gentleness, not to use a harsh word, not to say something that will hurt her. Usually from two sides. It means said in the Quran, in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse number 228. Allah Ta'ala said, وَلَهُنَّ مِثْلُ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ, and for the wife, whatever for her, whatever be implemented upon her. I mean, that things that she want to do to her husband, he must do to husband, she also will get the same treatment. That being said by Ibn Abbas radhiyallahu anhu, he said that I will beautify myself, be better in my clothing and in my look for my wife, like I want her to beautify herself for me, but not on the public. There's problem right now. We have people that actually being called in Islam as dayus, people who doesn't care about his wife being shown off to others. This is called dayus, and people who is dayus will not enter the paradise. The dayus is not the people who hit their wife, but the people who doesn't have dignity and letting his wife to being shown off to others. But the problem, some of them thinking that when your wife is actually presenting himself beautifully to others, that means that the husband is actually taking care of her goodly, good taking care of the wife. This is wrong understanding happening right now. People actually talking like that, saying that if my wife is presenting herself to others beautifully, then people will say that this is my wife. The wife is actually must beautify herself for her husband. Then the same being said by Ibn Abbas, if you want your wife to be beautiful for you, you have to beautify yourself for her, because the two sides must happen. The words and also the treatment for both sides must be with gentleness. Ma'al aulad, and also implemented with our children, because surely our children doesn't know this world yet. When we want to teach them anything, we can use the tone like commanding, or we can say to them softly. We can scold them when they did wrong, but only when they did wrong. Don't ever try to use the situation happen to scold the children for what being done in the past, because you want to make sure that they understand that when you forgive them before, you forget about everything else. The new chapter is other things. Some parents cannot use that wisdom, so they are using the latest situation for whatever he or she not really satisfied with their children. Like the children did not get good grades in their examination, so the parent is scolding them for something happening in the house by relating it to what happened. Thing happened, forgive and forget, move on. Don't ever mingle around that, because when you mingle around that topic, so the children also will have that attitude, will not have the attitude of forgiving and forget about what others will do to them. So you have to teach them rightfully. So use good words and don't scold them, except they actually they actually doing something that must be scolded, like not praying, not doing the salah, not following the command of Islam. Yes, you have to be harsh about it. Even the Prophet ﷺ, this upon him, he told us to teach our children to pray when they are 7 years old. Muru awladakum bis salah hum ibnu saba. Tell your children to pray, to do salah when they are actually 7 years old. Wadribuhum aliha wa hum ibnu ashr. And hit them actually, to make sure that they know it is serious. To not pray to Allah, to not doing the salah is so serious, more serious than taking others' belonging, more serious than other things, or lying or everything, because that is the biggest thing. You don't do the salah, then your relationship with Allah will be cut off. So you hit them if happen to make them realize that it's actually so dire and so serious about that, because we know that people or parent will surely angry with their children, but the most thing that you have to angry is actually what related with the right of Allah, the thing that we must do because of Allah. They want to do it, then we have to scold them. When they are actually 10 years old, we have to make them know that is serious. So from that, we know that you can scold your children, you can be mad at them or talk to them, but you have to pick the right time. Not all the time you have that type of anger. Every time you spark into angriness. That's not supposed to happen. Fifth, ma'al-ummalati wal-khadami, with workers and also the helpers. Some of the employer, they know that the employee is actually really need them to, let's say, anything concerning their the salary, and their life is really depending to the employer. So some of the employer is really making the relationship between him and his employee like king and servant. It's so wrong. Yes, you can tell them to do things. Even the Prophet ﷺ told the companion, told us that if we get a servant, the servant is actually a real servant. When people is actually caught in the war, then their status, their rank in the society being downgraded because they lose to the other part. So they become slave. In Islam, the slave, if you get somebody from the war to become your slave, then the Prophet said, whatever you eat, the slave must eat. Whatever you wear, the slave must wear. And you cannot hit them in their face. And you also have to help them if you told them to do something that is actually hard for him or her to do. So it's not really like what we see in the Westerners or European ideology about slave. In Islam, the slave can happen. Slavery can happen if there is war happening between nation, the Muslim and the non-Muslim. If that happen, this is war. Then the slavery, in the sense of the way of Islam, can happen, because whoever been caught inside the war is being given 4 options to the leaders what to do: either to kill them, no prisoners to be taken, or to let them go with payment, pay a certain amount, you'll be free, or you can free them without any payment, or you can keep them in a society so that they will learn about Islam in the household of Islam, like they will become like the children of the owner. Because even if the servant want to get married, the owner of the servant must pick a wife for the servant. It's like really like your own child. It doesn't have any right to do by his own self, always related to his owner, but the owner must take care of the servant or the slave like as if the slave is actually his son or daughter. So in Islam, the 4 things, these things, the 4th one is actually open the opportunity for the non-believers or the non-Muslim who being kept inside the house of Muslim to become a Muslim. That's the reason. If you don't want this, then the 3 other things that can happen. Okay. وقد نبهت آية الكرسي آية الإسراء, the verse of Al-Isra, verse number 53, that Allah Ta'ala said in that ayah, وَكُلِّ عِبَادِيَ الَّذِي وَكُلِّ عِبَادِي يَقُولَتِي أَحْسَنِ. Say, O Muhammad, to my servants, they must say that the thing is the best among the saying. So Allah Ta'ala in that ayah, after that command, the ayah of Surah Isra remind or making us realize the danger or the seriousness of leaving, do you want to do it, leaving the implementation of this rule. فقال سبحانه, after saying that the servant of Allah must say good to others, Allah Ta'ala said, Inna shaytana yanzagu bainahum. Verily, because shaitan, the Satan, is causing discord among them. Because if you don't use good words, then the Satan, the shaitan, will get the opportunity to discord among you. Yeah. So, wa'ala man ibtuliya bisama'i ma yakrahu. So upon whoever being tested with hearing what he doesn't like. He doesn't like things that he hear, but he is hearing that. An yuhawila an yahtamila ada man sami'a minhu. That he actually have to try to bear the anointment, the thing that annoyed to him from whoever he hear from it, whether his parent, his children, or his neighbor, his friend. He have to try to bear the burden, to bear the anointment that happen from them. Wa yaqula khaira, and he have to say goodness, not to use to return the badness with badness. Wa yuqabil as-safaha bil hilmi, and he have to return the stupidity with gentleness. Wal qawl al-badhi'a wa qawl al-badhi'a bil hasani, and bad words with good words. Wa illa, if not, fa inna as-safaha waradda bil qawli radi yusinuhu kullu ahadin. If not, then the stupidity, and also to return to getting back with bad words is actually something that can be done by anybody. Anybody can say bad words. To say bad to bad, to return bad with bad, is actually everybody can do it. Because you want to be a better person, you want to have a good life, you want to move on your life, not to stick to something that is actually not appropriate for a noble person. There is a story there. He said that after Imam Maliku, the Imam Malik, rahimahullah, he have give a fatwa or rulings li ba'di syu'ara bima la yuwafiquhu, to some of the poeters, those who actually at that time, the poet is actually some can be considered as some of them have place in the palace with the kings, with the king and everybody. So because they like to praise people or say good things about people, and the people in his poem. So people actually like to have them with them, to them stay with them. So one of the poet being said to him upon him by Imam Malik rahimahullah, rulings upon him. Faqala, then the poet say to Imam Malik, Ya Aba Abdillah, oh father of Abdullah. Is the way of Arabs don't want to say the name of the person, because it's being disrespectful, except you are actually a bigger person than the others. You can say his name. Other than that, you have to call them with his kunyah. Say here like Abu Abdullah. He said, Atadhunnul amira lam yakun ya'rifu hadha al-qada alladhi qadaytahu. Do you think that the governor doesn't know this ruling that you rule about, you have ruled? Qala bala. So Malik bin Anas, the Imam, said, yes, I know the governor know about it. Qala, then the poet say, innama arsalana ilayka litusliha bainana falam taf'al. He is actually sent us to you to make amend between us, to reconcile between us. Falam taf'al. Falam taf'al. But you don't do it. You don't take back your words. You don't say any other than that. Billahi la uqatti anna jildaka haja'a. By Allah, in the name of Allah, I will surely cut off your skin with words, with the poem. He want to provoke Imam Malik with poem. Want to cut off, like saying that the words he say will cut off the skin of that Imam. Faqalahu al-Imam Malik. Then Imam Malik say to him, Innama wasafta nafsaka bis-safahi wa dana'ati. You actually only describing yourself with stupidity and lowness. Wa huma alladhani la yu'izzu anhuma ahad. And those things, to be a stupid person and to be a low person, is actually something that is actually not something weak from it. Anybody. You cannot say that anybody cannot do it. No, everybody can do it. It can be stupid and can be low. فَإِنِ اسْتَطَعْتَ أَنْ تَأْتِيَ الَّذِي تَنْقَطِعُ دُونَهُ رِقَابٌ فَافْعَلْ. If you can come up with something that will not cut off your head, you want to say something that will not make you become kufur, and the rulings will come from the governor to cut off your head, then do it. Do. I don't care. Al-karamu wal-muru'atu. Because al-karam wal-muru'ah. Al-karam wal-muru'ah. Because nobility and also you say no, not the nobility, because karam, the wal-muru'ah, that is actually al-muru'ah. Muru'ah in Malay we call as the water face. No, the dignity. Faf'al. If you can do, then do. Because if you can come up with something that will not cut off your head, then do it. Al-karam wal-muru'ah. Because I will stick into the nobility, the nobleness and honorness, in honor, and also in dignity. I don't want to be like you, because to be stupid and to be low, then anybody can do it. That is what being said by Imam Malik rahimahullah. So alhamdulillah, we finished that. So inshallah I will try to look into the question if there's any question here. Okay. Okay, alhamdulillah, there's no question. Because today we have a technical issue, and our media team, they have to go out to send some help to the needy. Then today actually I conduct this lectures from the Zoom, and also make it live stream by myself. So no we say wording from the AQI media. So I don't really have that wordings that to say that our class start today and everybody want to ask anything can ask. So, and I see that in the chat box, public chat, that there's no question. So inshallah we stop here, and I hope that what we talk today about say goodness to people, say what is the best to people, that is actually the first rule that we will try to implement with ourselves. Use good words, not harshness. Good words have good meaning to others, because that is actually will stop you from quarreling with others, and stop others to continuously provoking you with bad words. And the harmony inshallah will come after that. Wallahi alhamd. So we'll stop here. Wallahu a'lam. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa sallam. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. So subhanallahi wa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.